Eh? I was like, I don't know. But are there no people with human face to sit and say, listen, what can we make of this? The Igbos, they will put down tens and hundreds of millions of naira to buy swamps. They will buy swamp, invest another billions in trying to concretize the surface. They will then build their houses on it. After 5 years, 10 years, the government will bring the bulldozer and they will say, you have built on the waterways. And then you would expect that, okay, maybe they want to do a project of waterway project to ease out any flooding or anything. No, they will sell the land to other people. So the Igbos will go to abandon their land or part of the state, invest tens and tens of billions of naira, develop it into a commercial hub and everything, increase the rate of property rate in the area. In 10 years, then somebody will come and they will say, these Igbos always want to take over everywhere. Go back to Anambra. And the cycle continues. You are watching that video with some broken heart, weren't you? In 10 years' time, if people still don't want to learn that Nigeria is not one, when you have far-right fascists in government, you have a lot to lose. And stop calling presidency. Presidency will... Take a look at this one. All because of election. If another far-right ideologist takes over power in any part of eastern Nigeria, it doesn't take much. All he has to do, see, if somebody wants to take over power in eastern Nigeria too, they can begin to use this. You see what is going on? They can begin to use that and call it a self-preservation. The Yorubas, the Fulani, everybody must leave their land. And this is not going to be about people who are saying, at least you can see, a lot of people are already in Igbo land, for example, because of the atrocities of the Fulani terrorists. A lot of them are already saying the Fulani should leave their land. They should go away. In Abia State, a whole cattle market, they discovered over 80 bodies. Do you remember? Over 80 bodies of people inside the market. And these were the kidnapped victims. Their governor said, I'm relocating the market to another place. So we will have to because the market has become a crime scene. So we are going to give you another place to go and start doing your cow market. Okay, but you see this place? We would have to quarantine the entire place. But that is somebody who is not a far-right fanatic, who have no far-right ideology, like the Tifnumbus and so. In Igbo land, there are people who have far-right ideologies too. That's one thing every one of us should please understand. You see, when you hear the thought, when you listen to the thought of some people, and you are like, well, that's your own idea. That one die you. You can't. I mean, somebody like you must not have access to power. If you have access to power, everybody go die. And then they will be like, hey, now everybody die. There are people in Eastern Nigeria, okay, who have been traumatized with the terror of the Fulani terrorists, yeah? So there are some of them, children, young, old, that they will wish that if they have power, if they have access to power, they will flush out every Fulani they see in their state or in their territory. And whatever they can do to make sure that that happens, they will do it. And just like what is going on in Lagos, somebody like that will also gain power in Eastern Nigeria. And then for the first time, the actions of these far-right criminals in Lagos, will finally affect the Yorubas who are just minding their business. Those who are working, those who are doing their businesses, those who have their families, the Yoruba communities in Igbo land, who are just going about their normal life. Jejely. That is how somebody will also use that power to truncate their own lives too. And it will now be eye for an eye that will eventually make all of us go blind. Because there are consequences for actions. All of your actions, when you do them, don't feel too comfortable. There will be consequences. And as for the Yorubas, who are living in denial, the reason why I don't like all this Igbo is that the way they talk about the Yorubas, the way they talk to Yorubas, and they know that because of Tifnumbu, they will be saying all the dirty nonsense thing about the Yorubas because of Tifnumbu. You are not wrong. You probably should be offended. I understand. But at the same time, for the first time, you too should admit that it is not just because of what the Tifnumbus and their supporters are saying. It is also what they are doing that are totally un-Yoruba. Here you get. And at this point, you shouldn't limit your rage at the Igbos who are attacking and abusing the Yorubas because of these rogues, calling Yorubas names. I'm not saying you shouldn't respond. You are not Omo Aleo. Here you get. If anybody say anything about the Yorubas that you don't feel comfortable with, you say something about their own their people that will make them uncomfortable. There is something that you should know, okay? And that is, no matter how you react, you should begin to admit the existing danger that is not only going to affect the Igbos that you want to respond to, that you want to abuse their generation. You see that your own generation too are also going to be in danger of what the Igbos have become the victim of. Because you see, the idea of foreigner is now applicable to your family members, not just those who share Igbo ancestry. Even if in your entire family there is nobody who married Igbo, there will be a member of your family who married from other tribe and other ethnic nationalities. The ideas of this Tifnumbu and gang is that your children are going to be called tainted blood. Tainted. That will pain you more than Omo Igbo go back to Anambra. Omo Igbo will go back to Anambra anyway. Just like Omo Yoruba will go back to, what do you call it? Go back to Yoruba land. Everybody will go back to where they come from eventually. But where would your own children go when they are called tainted blood? Where do you think they will go? Because that is the one some of you are ignoring. To you, these ones represent the Yoruba people. But let us ask ourselves, can you all point at that special benefit as Yorubas that you are benefiting from Yoruba land and in the hand of these criminals right now, that is making you far better off than any other Nigerian. I'm not even going to say Igbo or anybody now. As a Yoruba man or woman in Yoruba land, what is that thing? Be honest, though. Look around you. What is that thing that makes the Yorubas, that put the Yorubas in economic advantage than any other part of Nigeria? That you can easily tell and say, all these ones, I don't mind them, now they are in Yoruba land. They are Yorubas. When you look at those who are like enjoying Nigeria right now, and the Yorubas, don't in fact don't try to copy them, because there's something called Yoruba privilege. And when everybody is complaining of no money, Yoruba people will be asking you, do you need money? What is that privilege? What? Because it is all fluke. Their socialism is fake. Because their own type of a socialism, which they pretend to call themselves a progressives, the progressives, pseudo-socialism, tokenism, that they turn to socialism is called pseudo-socialism. They give people, socialism is to say, okay, everybody must be fine, everybody must be okay, the state will take care of you and all of that. No. That's what they pretend to do. Give them 1,000 naira, give them 5,000 naira to lift them out of poverty. But these are a bunch of far right wing extremists. Nobody's benefiting anything. Nothing. So when you look at that, and you see those who are promoting the idea of Yoruba this, Igbo that, and you can smell the stench of their ignorance miles away. Anything else than to just shake your head and be like, ignorant. So that is what I want you to please have in mind. That as you are thinking you are defending Yoruba, this Yoruba that, and this one cannot say this about us, and that one cannot say this about us, and the rest of that, just to remember that you are not defending the Yoruba people. You are defending the extreme, divisive, bigoted political ideology, xenophobic political ideology of Tinubu and his gang. And they have power to do anything they are doing right now, everything they are doing right now. But you should know that they are not doing it in the interest of anyone but themselves, not you. They're not going to take over that place and then begin to and decide to just build industry there and give all of you the keys and say, yeah, you are a mechanic, or you take this space, you have this, you take that, take this. They won't build any economy for you. So if you think they are doing it for you, oh dear, I may not be able to really help you. They're not doing it for anybody but themselves. But why should they destroy all of this? And it's going to be a continuous recurring cycle and all of that. And to those of you, the Igbos, who are going to be the victims for the last time, see that you have even owned your house for the past 40 years will not save you. These guys will go to the farthest extreme end to destroy everything that is marked Igbo. And this is not even trying to incite you. I am only trying to remind you. Divest that I was saying. Divest your own investment. Sell out that property, sell it. Save yourself the cost. Don't come and begin to calculate your losses when you see the rumble of your whole house or your business or everything. They will do it, even if you have document for your lands. I remember when one local government chairman, and that was Odogbolu local government chairman, the chairman of my local government. We were having I was still very young then, and I will never forget this. So, Bolu Joko, that was his name. Kunle Bolu Joko. So we were having a chat. I mean, sorry, they were having a chat, and I happened to be sort of there too. And they were talking about some people in the local government, in the town and all that. Some of them were like rich people, considerably rich people. And Bolu Joko started talking about the power of government. It was a local government chairman. So Bolu Joko said, let me tell you something, young man. There is something about power. You don't need to be rich to use power. That someone with power can redefine anything at any time. Nothing is fixed. He said, for example, he said, I am the local government chairman right now. That look at that block industry over there. It's been there, before I was born. And he said, I could come out tomorrow and say 50 years ago or 20 years ago, the local government redesigned the town planning of the old town. And right now, there must be a double carriageway that will pass through the land of that block industry. And that's how the block industry is going to cease to exist. That if the man decides to go to court, that before the court even finally make decision, it would have already graded the road, clear all the block industry out, clear everything. And people would have seen that he's trying to build a road. Okay? The people that are seeing a new road, they will not blame him. They will begin to look at that owner of the block industry somehow, like it's somebody against development. So instead of people to question the rationale behind redesigning a road that has to take out, you know what I mean? They won't say it that way. And he said, that is what power is. No matter how rich that man is, the owner of the block industry, no matter how rich or how connected he is, by the time he come back from the court with judgment, I would have done, I don't have intention of building road, but because of him, I can use the government resources and construct a road there, even if I'm not going to complete the road. But the block industry will cease to exist without having to just go there and say, I want to demolish your block industry. And I was like, that's true. You know what I mean? That's what they use power for. So if somebody sits somewhere and say, the demolition going on in Lagos have no other option, it's a lie. Even if you have all the documents there, they can tell you, well, fine, you have the document, but this is for the public development because of that. And then the problem will now be, okay, will you pay me compensation? Then they will bring somebody from the local government to value your what have you and say, well, the government is broke. We can't really pay you more than this amount. Then you can go back to court again. You may be at that for the next 30 years. And even if the court give you the judgment, the successive government will now say, it wasn't me. It wasn't me. It wasn't me. This case was 10 years ago. I will ask my attorney general to look into it. Until maybe you have to just, the whole thing itself, if you don't die, don't have the strength to fight it anymore, That is what the injustice in that place represents. But there is something I want you to know. You are not spared, though. If you think this is against the Igbo because of the physical structure being pulled down, there are other non-physical structures that are being pulled down. Family, relationships like business relationship and everything, they are being pulled down every day. And that is them sending the message to say, don't mess with us again in Lagos, where we are doing our election again. Do you get that? Don't try us again. Even if Igbos are like, we don't want voters card, we don't want anything again. When the election pops up, the Igbos will come into it. I mean, they will drag the Igbos into it, drag their names, drag everything into it, and make it all about them, because that is their politics. Their politics is dangerous for Lagos. It's dangerous for Yoruba land. It is dangerous for the regional, what do you call it, the regional group of states in Nigeria. It is dangerous for Nigeria. Yes, it is. And instead of asking everybody to go back to, I mean, instead of demolishing their properties, using excuses to do that, yeah, why don't you just give them the way pass and just say, you know what, we don't want you in our state officially anymore. And we wanted the government of Nigeria to let us have a conversation about if you really want to leave. But they are a bunch of cowards. Cowards. You know why? It is similar to what is going on in the UK and some part of the world right now. The Igbos that came down to that left Igbo land, they entered everywhere with something to offer, service to offer, business, trade, and others. They didn't come down to put gun in our heads and take our lands. No, they didn't. And Yorubas, who knows Igbos very well, we are not jealous of you. A lot of you grew up in Lagos. And I need to say this before I move down to the UK, because that's exactly what is going on in the UK right now too. A lot of you grew up in Lagos. You have childhood friends. We have no reason to be jealous of you. Jealous of what? When we kind of call it healthy competition. Yeah? Where people are trying to, thriving to be the best they can be. And they have been. But you see, these charlatans, these jobless pickpockets, freeloaders, these scavengers and scroungers, they exist in Yoruba land. They do. They have access to power in Lagos. They've not even bettered their own lot. So if you say they are jealous, I think you should direct that to those jobless miscreants who are hoping to one day get you attacked, your properties taken and stolen if possible. Well, a lot of you grew up in different parts of Yoruba land, especially Lagos yourself. That wasn't the memory you probably have about the Yorubas. That can't be the memory. Of course, a lot of you who have never even visited Yoruba land. Today, everything you know about the Yorubas were things you were told. A majority of those things you were told were to actually completely appeal to the narrative. Whoever told you that. When you ask the Igbos who grew up in Yoruba land, they will tell you that's not the memory of the Yorubas they know. No. Well, Yorubas also have to admit that these people exist, and they exist beyond the borders of Lagos. There are many of them that wishes that they will have access to power in Osun and replicate the same thing in Osun. Replicate the same thing in Oyo, in Ogun, Ekiti, Ondo, if they have the similar power. But nevertheless, to those of you who have all these memories, and to those of us who are Yorubas who also have these memories of the Igbos we grew up with, you will think all the banters, all the hatred, and all of those slur, messages and darts, they are just for election. It is no longer just about election. In fact, a lot of us are, a lot of us have been put on notice that the relationship we actually grew up with other tribes and all of them, that we should do everything to erase them from our mind and begin to wear this one. That's an impression that is totally wrong. And it is time for all of you, Yorubas, who understand the danger that these guys represent. It's not going to just affect the Igbos. No, no, no. It's going to affect you directly and or indirectly. And it may be too late after you must have supported these shenanigans in the name of preserving the Yoruba. I don't know. Self-preservation starts from economic empowerment. None of this is given to us as Yorubas. We are not better off. We are worse off. Despite the 24 years of being governed by the Yorubas, led by the Yorubas. So if people who have failed decided to use ethnic baiting, xenophobia, and in your mind, now you be the Okogana, be the Evander Holyfield, be Mike Tyson that has to fight tooth and nail to preserve the Yoruba days. You are not preserving the Yoruba, you are promoting the Tifnumbu's political ideology, which is even dangerous to you. I hope you will remember that. Immigration in the UK, in the last, they said in the last 10 years, they sort of have had what is called the net migration, net, what have you. And Nigerians, like other countries, have migrated to the UK, like, so much more than what the public facilities could really cater for. And the public here in the UK, they are beginning to, they didn't just begin, it's been a while too, but it's becoming louder now that the failed public service, NHS, and all of these who are struggling, and all of that, inadequate, infrastructure, inadequate housing, and all of that stuff are now being blamed on the immigrants. The immigrants are those they gave student visa to work visa, settlement visa, family visa. And in the in the year ending June 2023, they said that the United Kingdom has brought in over 1.2 million immigrants. Now, you see those ones who are here who are like the indigenous people of Britain. They believe that they have been shortchanged. But before the shortchanging or what have you comes in, politicians in the UK, they started underfunding some major public institutions like the NHS. So when we say underfunding, it simply means the amount of money provided by the government for the running of NHS in the UK is so small that for the past 10 years, NHS has been downsizing and downsizing and downsizing. In fact, so many others are sort of not downsizing per se, but people are kind of leaving. Sure, you get now. People were leaving because of the poor pay, long hours, and all of that. So the politicians in this country saw an opportunity window. Two things in the immigration business, that they could make so much money every year from it, and they could save so much money as well without having to invest anything. So what did they do? They designed a visa scheme, different categories of visa for people to come to the UK. For example, the students who are coming here to school alone, they were bringing in over 25 billion pounds sterling. As at 2020, those who were coming to the UK to school, they were bringing in over 37 billion. And as at June 2023, year end, those who are coming here as immigrants have brought in over 42 billion a year. That's a lot of money. So for the politicians, that's some free money there in the economy. Schools were making so much money, and they were able to finance all of their own researches and pay their own, that everyone was fine in that economy. So when it now comes to the labor force, you see the British, who believes that, back in the days, when you are working in this country, between the ages of 18 and ages of 25, you possibly would have been able to afford your mortgage, okay? In a way that, because you have a job, a good paying job, and then you have a very good mortgage offer and all of that stuff that you could afford. And along the line, young people were homeowners at very young age in the past. But these days, due to the economy and the inflation changing here and there, majority of them are now spending their supposed mega pay on survival, forgetting about buying houses. Okay? And all of these are now being blamed on the fact that those in the economy here, starting with the government, they prefer cheap labor. Now, you see the Brits here themselves who wanted to ask for more pay. Everywhere they want more pay that will correspond with the current reality. The businesses will be like, okay, we can't. And if you can't pay us more, then I don't want to work. Okay, don't worry, don't work. There are other cheap labor by the immigrants. They planned that they said they were going to bring 600,000 to the UK. They ended up bringing 1.2 million. Now, this 1.2 million, to an average Brit, they have denied them the bragging rights. They have denied them the fighting spirit, the fighting right. Because if they try to fight, the same, you have citizenship, I'll be British citizenship. Okay, fine, you are British, fine. But what makes you British other than the fact that you can work anytime you want to? Now, somebody else has this. They have the work permit now. So if you can't take this pay, somebody else is going to take it. So the agency were now, they were now offering all these shifts and all of them to these agents, so these immigrants. So to the Brits themselves, the immigrants are taking all their jobs and they are doing cheap labor. They are forcing them to also take cheap pay. And the politicians who promised that they were going to improve their lives and economy, they have not only ruined it, they have also brought in so much people for the infrastructures like housing, healthcare, and other, even welfare system, infrastructures that are not even adequate, underfunded. You have now brought more people into it. People now wait for months to see their GP. They are actually the talk here these days, talking about politicians taking advantage, and pretending to want to find a solution other than to create more problems. Then when the problem now starts, they will now pounce on those immigrants. Politicians will now begin to act like there are too many people. We need to cut net migration. They will now start pretending that they are listening to their citizens now. Now then give you visa. You enter UK. You discovered that they are not building new houses. They are not building new hospitals. They are not building any new infrastructure per se to accommodate the new people. They are taking their money, giving them, students are sleeping in libraries because they couldn't secure housing. Meanwhile, they have paid thousands of pounds sterling to these schools. They put them under stringent conditions. You must attend school. If you don't attend school, you have forfeited your visa, your studentship. And once you don't attend school, your visa is also gone. You cannot work anymore. But there were no provisions for them, no real anything. But election is coming. Just like the fascist of Lagos, election is coming in the UK soon. Okay? More people are now on benefits instead of looking for a job. Listen to this one in the UK, because they can't do cheap job, cheap labor, when they have to pay more for the cost of living. Sure, you understand? So they will just be like, okay, I'm not working. I'm just going to go and take benefits. So government will pay for their house, give them some money, and they are fine with that. Now, that government is now saying that they are broke now in the UK. So the government is now saying, if you are collecting money because you feel like you cannot work or you are not, even those of you who have a disability, you must begin to look for a job now. We can no longer give you money. So the same government that brought in all of the people without making any provision, right? The same government is now saying, now pretending to be listening to their people. And we will need to cut down immigration. And you know what they're going to do? All of them now, we then give visa. They will be looking for one reason, one excuse or the other on how to get you out. Again, they say, you have to work for 20 hours. You must not work more than this hour. You must not do this or that. Now that they have collected all your money, they are now working on, we will need to cut this down, or we need to send some people back. Do you see that? The immigrants are the problems. They are the ones who make the NHS not to be working fine anymore. They are the ones who didn't allow the GPs to be available anymore. They are the ones to be blamed for the economic woes of the UK, which indeed is totally wrong, right? So you can now put UK and Lagos, and then put the politicians from both sides, and look at the victims from both sides, and tell me if you can spot any difference per se. And that is why we continue to encourage those of us who still have the opportunity now, that if you are in Lagos, I don't care how long you have been, you need to begin to look homeward. You know what they say? You need to begin to look eastward. You need to begin to look to the east. You need to begin to divest. You see these fascists. You see these xenophobic rogues. As they are dealing with you, they are dealing with everyone they now call tainted blood. Yes, tainted blood, half blood. Imagine you looking at your own daughter, and then you see her and you feel like she's a half blood. What kind of mental problem would you have? What kind of political ideology will enter you that will make you call your own child tainted blood? For criminals that are not building any infrastructure, they are not investing in the same Yoruba people themselves to actually make us feel better, like, oh yeah, we have the best, this, best, that, best, that. Nothing. It is a danger that I believe is also avoidable. And for those who are currently hiding behind those who are championing this, hiding behind, it's because I cannot let anybody talk anyhow to Yoruba and this. I hope you will use the same energy, okay, when they have no Igbos. to kill anymore. And then they will come over to you. I want to take calls. I want to leave it at that. I want to hear from people too, okay? So it's all up to you. I will be back in a minute or two, and then we'll take calls just before we go tonight. You can still like the broadcast anyway if you're still here with me. And if you are watching from Abule Ado or Abule Ado in Lagos, you can pick up your phone and call in and tell us what happened. If you are, especially if you are one of the victims. I will be back in a minute. Thank you. I have a caller.
Hello, Mayebu.
Hello, sir. You might, I don't
Hello.
know why I'm hearing that. Shh. Can you hear that too?
Yes, it's raining.
Oh, is it? Are you in the car?
Hello?
Are you in the car or something?
No, it's raining. It's raining. It's the weather, the rain. It's raining.
Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Niger State. This is Charles calling from Niger
Charles,
State.
Niger. I think I saw the name earlier, by the way.
Yes.
So thank you. So Charles, we'll manage it, okay? But the echo and all of that is really bad. But yes, please. A quick one. Go on.
Okay. Sorry. Well, I'm trying to talk. I've heard what you said concerning the demolition that is going on. It's quite unfortunate.
Yes.
Is so compounded. That is so much. As I'm talking to you now, I'm an Igbo man. I live in the north central, precisely in Niger State. So I've been living in the north for over 25 to almost 30 years. So, and due to some of the kind of the way they treat the Igbos in Nigeria.